Everybody, Corey here, and welcome to, well, you know what time it is. It's in the middle of the day. Whenever I say that, that means we have someone very special here, Corey Coleman. But who I want to bring on right now is, well, let me put it this way. Normally, you wouldn't do an interview with someone that has continuously tried to kill you over several days. But that is exactly who we're going to be talking to today, because my guest is, and please welcome everybody, Maggie Robertson. Maggie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, no, thank you. Pleasure is completely all mine and everyone who's watching and listening right now. And Maggie, for those of you who don't know, Maggie, well, first of all, Maggie's an incredibly talented actress. And she is someone that you have seen very much in the media recently. And I had to practice his name, and I'm still going to mess it up. I'll call her Lady D. But I think people call her Lady Dimitrescu. Is that it? Is that how you say it?
A for effort. Dimitrescu. I had to do the exact same thing, though. My very first day in the volume was the first time I was ever told how to pronounce her name. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that opening scene, I say the name 500 times. So it was me in the corner in between takes. I would be in the corner just like rocking back and forth like a crazy person saying, Dimitrescu.
Yeah, that's why we're going to go with Lady D. I haven't had...
Lady D is easier. I'm here for it. I just call her Lady D.
Yeah, I have not had a chance to have as much practice as you have. But people who know this character, and people have heard all about this character, they know that this is a character from Resident Evil Village, the latest Resident Evil game from Capcom, and you are being known very much now for the voice work for this character. Now, what I want to do is people have seen her enough, and people have heard her enough in that form right there. I actually want to put the spotlight on your voice, focus on your voice, and show you as yourself doing the character's voice so that people can actually hear you do this and also see the talent behind it. If you don't mind if I play a clip real quick.
Sure.
But some of you have stumbled across my Instagram account. That account is for my friends, my daughters, and even my idiot brother Heisenberg.
So obviously you've had so much success with this character that people are trying to reach you online right now and trying to reach you on social media. How crazy has that been? I mean, have you had, the character is known for, and let's just go ahead and put it out there, her very sexy appearance. And I imagine that, you being the voice actress, people identify you pretty much as that character. What kind of weird experiences have you had due to this character having so much success?
Oh, man. There's been a lot. I mean, it's totally surreal. I'll just say that, because I never expected her to blow up like this. Even while we were shooting, I was just so happy to be in the same room as all of these different titans in the industry that I was just so grateful to be there. I went into it with no expectations on the outcome. So every bit of this now post-release has been a complete shock and surprise to me. It's definitely been wild. I mean, one of the reasons why I made that video, I was starting to get all these requests on my personal account, and I just felt bad denying people randomly without giving an explanation. So I just thought maybe this would be a fun way to let them know how this is going to work. Like, we're going to all switch over to Maggie the Bard, my Instagram and Twitter account, and everything will be there for you. And so that's kind of why I did that. But for the most part, I will say, like, there is this hypersexualization of the character for sure, and warranted, because she is an incredibly sexy and powerful and attractive woman. So I totally get it. But overwhelmingly, I would say the responses that I am getting and receiving from people have been incredibly positive and supportive, and about the work that I'm doing as an actor and my performance. And so that's what I want to talk about anyway. So I was like, oh, this is great. This is lovely. I really haven't been experiencing as much the, I guess, darker side of the internet in that way, which I feel very lucky for.
Well, that's great to hear, because I know a lot of people probably assume that you're getting harassed, and a lot of people are coming at you in weird sexual kind of ways. But that's good to hear that that's not the case in this situation. And I don't even want to talk about Lady D at the moment. Because obviously before this character came into being, you were a great actress already. You were already doing things out there. You're so well trained when it comes to acting because you've done. It seems like, now, me not being a professional actor, I don't know. It seems like you've done all the work that is required to be considered a respected and professional actor or actress right here. You've done film, you've done the stage. I have a still of you right here. That's you in Beauty and the Beast, Madame de la Grande Bouche. Now I'm not good with names, so I messed that all up. I'm sure too.
Right on that one. So you were right. A+.
Oh,
Madame de
wow.
la Grande Bouche. Yeah.
So you've done it all. Were you doing any kind of voice work before you got this job?
No, it's so funny. Voiceover wasn't really on my radar before I booked this job, which is why it feels so serendipitous that I have stumbled my way into this opportunity. But it really does feel like one of those moments, like when preparedness meets opportunity, because as you said, training has been a major focus of mine, and I've worked very hard to make sure that I am making myself the best actor that I can be and constantly pushing myself and learning and exploring and doing new things. And so I think it's so important if you're trying to be an actor. You've got to train. You've got to always be working on your craft. It's so, so important. And then what that meant is when I got this audition, all of my background, even though I've not done motion capture or voiceover before, my background actually, I think, made me uniquely primed to step into this new opportunity and be successful in it. And really, when I break it down and think about my life and my career, voice has been the building block for me that everything else is based on, because that's where I started. I started as a singer first, and then I kind of got into acting. But even as a kid, I was always the girl who's doing weird voices and making weird noises, and nobody really knows what's happening with her. So I feel like it's kind of silly to me that it took me this long to find voiceover, because it feels like the most natural fit for me. And that's the same with performance capture as well. There was something about it that just clicked in, and it was one of those lightning bolt moments where I was like, oh, this is what I meant to be doing. This is where I need to be. This is what I want my life, my career to look like from here on out. So it feels very special to me, this experience, because I do feel like I've found the thing I'm meant to be doing. And that's really exciting and something that doesn't happen all the time. I think people wait a long time to get that lightning bolt and to get that clear information of exactly where they're supposed to be in the industry.
It's interesting you should say that, because I was going to ask you, as far as voice work goes, especially today, a lot of actors and actresses now who are doing voice work, and we have some very, very high profile people now who are arguing that, hey, listen, voice work is respected, but it's not looked at on the same level as other performers, usually film and stage performers. But, you have people like Andy Serkis who is saying, you don't know the amount of physicality that goes into the kind of voice work we do, because the voice work now requires motion capture. And yes, I'm going to show a clip because I want people to see, the amount of acting that does. You're not just in front of a mic now, you are doing all of the physical actions for that character. And this is Maggie, folks, for those who are listening and those who are watching. This is Maggie doing the actual acting, the physical acting for the character of Lady D.
I won't.
Those guys back there look like you weren't going to even do that. They didn't know you were going to do that. Like, oh shit, she's throwing things, Was that it? Was that scripted, or did you just get in the moment and just throw something across the room?
No, it was totally scripted. You can't just go throwing things willy-nilly in a volume with all this expensive equipment. That would never fly. But it is interesting. Like, we did have to be very careful about where it landed. Like, people were off camera. You probably couldn't see them in that clip. I can't remember, but they're waiting to make sure that the table that I throw doesn't hit any of the expensive cameras or anything like that. And they definitely had to tell me to calm it down.
Yeah.
I was I was giving a little too much juice, and they were like, "Okay, don't hit the cameras, Maggie." And I was like, "Okay."
But, do you feel like, I guess you feel like kind of now that voice work is enabling you to bring in all of your other acting skills. But do you feel like there's still this sort of, now that you've done it, do you feel like voice work is coming into its own? Or do you feel like it's still being kind of not as respected as it should?
I think it's definitely coming into its own. It's the interest in voice work and specifically the behind the scenes of how all of these things are made is just growing and growing and growing. You can see that in like the Frozen 2 documentary where they're the making of. I think people are becoming more and more fascinated by that behind the scenes work on these types of productions. So I think it is coming into its own, and people are starting to get an appreciation for all of the work that goes into it, not just as from an acting perspective, but from the animators and developers themselves. There's so much work. These things take years to make, years and years. And I think the important thing to remember is that it's voice acting. You still have to be an actor. If you just have a good voice, you can only do so much. You really still have to be an actor in order to have a successful career in voiceover. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no separating it, in my opinion. There's no difference between what I was doing for theater and on camera as my prep work as an actor versus what I'm doing for voiceover and motion capture. That process for me is the same because at their core, it's all just acting.
Yeah, and hearing you say that, it's obvious that you have put a lot of work into the character. Your voice is in there, your motion capture. So again, the physical side is there. You're pretty much the character at this point. And then after it's all done, they put on the final model, they put another actress's face on there. So I don't know if a lot of people, and it's funny because you are more well known for your voice of this character than the woman who put her face on it. No disrespect to this woman at all. This is Helena Mankowska. That is, as you can see, the face of Lady D right there. So when you put all this into the character and then they go and they put another face on it, do you feel disappointed? Do you feel maybe relieved that you don't have to put yourself out there that much? Or do you look at it as fair? Is it okay?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was something I knew going into this, and it's very common in voiceover and in video games as well. So that's nothing new. And the truth of the matter is that these characters in a video game is very much a Frankenstein process. Like, we're talking about me and Helena as being these two key components, but really there are legions of developers and designers and animators behind even us that have worked and developed in this character as well. So she really is this amalgamation of a lot of different people, a lot of different people's creativity and talent going into making her the icon that she is today. So that never bothered me at all. I actually think it's really cool to see how all of these components can come together. It's really inspiring. I think one of the coolest things about this whole process, especially because she has blown up in the way she has, is I really feel like she has taken on a life of her own. She's not really mine anymore. She's not really any of ours anymore because she has become something much larger than any of us. The fans have taken her and have now added on with their creativity and talent so many different layers with fan art of her doing potting plants or playing piano or interacting with who knows what. People are adding on and continuing to develop her character, and that's been really cool to see. And for me, I think it's kind of nice to have that distance and detachment because I think oftentimes when I look at my on-camera work, sometimes it's easy as an actor to get so nitpicky about your performance, and you're just like constantly critiquing every little thing you could have done different. But for me, this has been nice to have that sense of distance so that I can really separate myself from the performance and experience it as a fan myself. I'm able to have that attachment that I can watch it and actually enjoy myself and not just be thinking about all the things I change or or anything like that. So that's been actually quite lovely. I enjoy that part of it.
You know, with this becoming such a cultural phenomena and you being at the center of it, has this job opened any other opportunities for you?
Nothing that I can speak about just yet. I'm certainly auditioning a ton, which in fact is an actor's main job. You audition full time as an actor. And then what we always say is that once you book the role, that's kind of like your vacation, your fun vacation time. But your main job as an actor is to audition. That's what you do from 9 to 5 every day. So I'm certainly doing a lot of that. And what I will say is that the exciting stuff I have coming up is all still Resident Evil themed. So we've got these really great signings coming up with Streamily, which we're doing. House Dimitrescu trio signing with Nicole Tompkins and Becca Pruitt, who play my daughters. And then we're going to do a little special doodle for Jeanette as well on those prints. And then I've got some solo signings, my own as well. So those are the main projects that I'm working on at this time.
You know, I was going to ask you about having to go do signings and conventions and things like that, because I read, now I could be wrong, as I often am, but I read that you're not into games, video games. You're not much of a gamer. Is that true, or?
I never grew up playing video games. We did not have a console, so I'm not a gamer in the sense that I play, but certainly now that I'm in the industry, I watch cutscenes like crazy. I'm trying to keep tabs on games. And the truth of the matter is, like, hi, this is Baby Grogu behind me. I am a huge nerd myself. And even though I wasn't growing up playing games, I was growing up reading science fiction and fantasy. So all of these tropes and archetypes are very familiar to me, and they're being used in video games as well. And so it felt like a really natural world to step into as an actor, because I was already immersed in it from day one. I love that stuff. And also in terms of Comic-Cons, nerd over here, I've been to them as an audience member, as a participant. And now the idea that I can now go to them as a talent and be on the other side of the table in that way, it's so mind-blowing.
No wonder you were a weird kid making noises. You didn't have a console? You didn't grow up with video games or anything?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. If I had a game, maybe I wouldn't be here today.
Exactly. Well, you know, well, that's funny because, I mean, surely when you were growing up, video games are popular, consoles are popular. You know, I'm sure that, you know, you're not very far away from some of the more recent generation of consoles that are out there. Were you in a household where games were not allowed, or were you just not interested?
I don't know. I don't know if it was ever an explicit conversation. I think I just wasn't interested that much. I was such an avid reader. And I don't know. I was such an avid reader, and I was always in my own world and imagination doing stuff. I think I probably didn't need a lot of help in order to get lost in in fantasy. My parents were probably like, that's enough. She doesn't need more stimulus. She's got it. She's got enough.
Well, man, you really are a nerd. You're such a nerd that you traded books for video games, man. Nobody does that today unless you're just really hardcore. That's cool.
I'm so hardcore, man. Yeah.
Comic books, at least?
No, I never even really did the comic books.
Nerd! Straight up. I should stuff you in a locker right now. What are you? No, that's very cool. Again, made you the person you are today. That's awesome.
There you go.
And you're probably the smartest nerd out there because you were actually reading books instead of playing games and reading comics.
That's a great way to frame it.
Excuse me
Things
for...
to make me feel good about my kids.
Excuse me for a moment. Just show people your pretty face. I'll be right back. I'm sorry for this. Hold on. I'll show you why.
Okay.
I'll show you why. I'm so sorry. I thought I was going to get away with it. This is not a ploy to win you over or anything. I have a dog. Every time I do one of these things, she wants to sit here and do it with me. And I thought I thought the wife had her right now, and I thought I was going to be able to escape. But she found me. She knocked on the door. She sits on every podcast now. She wants to. She has to. It's not me kidnapping her. So she does that. This is Pixie, by the way.
I love her. What's her name?
Pixie. Pixie, this is Maggie. Maggie, this is Pixie.
Pixie, your little tongue is sticking out of your mouth, and I love it. You are so cute.
Yeah. She needs to read more books because she just looks stupid with that tongue hanging out, right? But hold on.
Oh,
This is again. This is not an attempt to win the guest over, even though it works, right?
it is working. Yeah.
So, with you starting to get into games right now, you are just starting to get into the gaming culture and experience that. First of all, have you played Resident Evil Village? Have you, or at least have you seen the playthrough?
I have watched the playthrough. Yes, I did a playthrough stream with Nicole Tompkins, who plays Daniela, one of my daughters. So she was the one playing, and then I was just there, like, watching and taking it all in and getting to enjoy myself and distract her. And it was so fun. They've done such a good job. I mean, especially in Castle Dimitrescu, it's so ornate. It's mind-blowing. There's so much attention to detail there. Even like a hand that sticks out of a barrel, the nails are painted. It's insane. Oh, look at that chandelier.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great game. I'm on my second playthrough right now. I really love it.
Oh.
Like I said, it's weird because feel like I've spent so much time with you chasing me down, trying to murder me. It's kind of awesome. But now that you've seen when you've seen the playthrough and you've seen how it plays out, how much of that did you get to see beforehand? I mean, does Capcom keep all this stuff secret so that you don't talk to anybody about it, or do they show you everything?
Oh, I think it's a nice balance. They were kind enough to show me some of the scenes beforehand, but certainly there's a lot of stuff that I did not know before the game came out.
Okay,
So, yeah.
I thought you were going to give me some big secret. You had a really thoughtful look, like, oh shit, she's about to say something deep right now. I am going to ask you something that people probably have asked you over and over again, but I'm going to throw it out there too, because I'm curious about this. And we kind of covered it a little bit earlier, but there are ongoing discussions, especially in video games, about the sexualization and over-sexualization of female characters. And, and it's really something that people are saying, I might be phrasing this in a really bad way, but they're saying it's really bad in video games because now when characters are being represented more and more as more human characters or regular characters, such as, I don't know how much you, again, know about video games, but there was just this controversy with The Last of Us 2. I don't know if you heard about this. They just had this game, Horizon Dawn, where somebody tried to, they made, this character lives in a wasteland. This character is more mature. And they said, wow, you need to let fans make games because you guys don't get women right. And then what they do is take this character from an apocalyptic wasteland and they put her in makeup and fake eyelashes. So, she looked like Minnie Mouse or something. So when you actually hear about how bad it is, especially in gaming, how do you feel about this particular character? And I guess it's safe to say that, a lot of her popularity is being attributed to her breast and her ass. How do you especially as a woman, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think there's no way to deny that women, not just in video games, but in lots of different forms of media, are often hypersexualized and are these idealized versions of women that aren't necessarily real. But what I will say, and certainly Lady D is hypersexualized in her own way, but what I think is actually exciting about her is that yes, she's being sexualized, but she is a very different character physically than what we've seen in video games before now. And I think that's exciting, actually. And the response that she's had, the fact that people still are thinking she's beautiful and this fascinating character, just goes to show how the audience is there. The audience is ready to see different characters on screen and to have more diversity and representation in media. She's not the end-all, be-all of that journey, but she's certainly a nice, LOL, big step in the right direction in terms of seeing different characters in games. I think, especially in games, people are pushing for that, right? So that's what I think is exciting about Lady D. Certainly with Horizon Zero Dawn, I think video games in general are moving more towards story, and that's exciting from an animation perspective because it's becoming more about narrative, and the cinematics are absolutely insane. It looks like you're watching. I sometimes can't tell if I'm watching live action versus an animation, which is really exciting. But I think as we push more towards story, we are going to continue to see a push more towards creating real grounded characters, women included. So I think you're right. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, that character is not going to put on makeup. She's not.
Yeah, exactly.
She's too busy like fighting these. What are they? The like dragon, dinosaur robot things that they're fighting. Like
We'll
she's
just
got
say,
other
yeah.
things to think about than just how pretty she looks that day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That
Well, yeah,
makes her cool and exciting, and I think it's important for women and every member of a minority group in a marginalized community to see themselves on screen. It's really inspiring to see those people on screen. So I think we need to keep pushing and keep having these conversations to continue to develop that and work towards a more representative media.
So with you also, again, going back to you not being a gamer, what new perceptions or what have you learned about the gaming community or the gaming culture that you didn't know before?
Ooh, they're avid. The fans, man, they are avid. They love, I think that's so what's inspiring about, especially the Resident Evil community, I feel, is that they are so into the game and into the franchise. They care so much. The love that they have for this franchise, these characters, is so palpable. And then I get to be on the glorious receiving end of so much love and adoration and care. And I think that's really cool. This is what I love about my nerdy community, is that everyone is just like so inspired by everything. And you know? Did I clear that up?
No, actually, that was the deepest part right there.
You can quote me on that. And there's the inner child that just made weird noises instead of actually communicating appropriately with people.
And she calls me crazy, y'all.
That's a fair point.
Just a couple of things real quick right here, and then we'll be finished. The voice. Where did the voice come from? Was this, for the character? Was this something that you had already been doing, maybe, or was it something new that you came up with? And if you did, how did you do that?
Yeah, the voice. What it landed on is this kind of mid-Atlantic, transatlantic accent, which is a combination of American and British accents, but it's neither here nor there. So it kind of sits in between worlds, which I think is good for Lady D because she is this otherworldly, surreal, fantastical creature character. I wasn't consciously thinking about that, though, when I was developing the character. I wasn't sitting down saying, I'm going to do a mid-Atlantic accent. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Instead, what I was thinking about is the fact that as a character, Lady D is incredibly proud, and she has this sense of superiority over everyone around her, and is very regal. So I wanted to give her an arch quality to her voice, and so that kind of is what landed me into that accent. And I think the little hints of British or Britishisms there just enable the language to be heightened and her voice to be heightened in that way and elevates it in a way. So that's kind of how I landed on that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the exact same thing. It was sort of a mid-Atlantic accent, like, I don't know, Cary Grant or something like that,
All the old Hollywood movie stars use that accent, period.
Yeah, exactly. And I see that you guys, now that you are finished with the game, you guys are still having these Zoom calls and parties and having fun with each other.
Mom, I'm trying to... Mother? Mom, put your finger on my nose. Gross. Actually, yeah. No.
I like the way the guys are just sitting up there like, what the hell are they doing?
I don't know what to do with me. Yeah.
That is the Resident Evil cast right there, at least the Resident Evil Village cast right there. And you guys seem to be having a great time. Are you guys friends now? Do you keep up?
Yes, I love my cast. It's been really special, I think, to get together and just feel like we've all fallen into this big giant family together. There is that like instant connection and instant rapport, I think, and that was unexpected. There were some people that I didn't really even work with when I was actually shooting the game, like Aaron LaPlante, for instance. I think we were technically at the table read together, but then I never saw him after that. So then when we got to the cast reunion, it was so special to feel like, oh, there's no barrier here between us. We are in this giant, we've been through this experience together, and now we are all a family. And I think because the game has blown up so much, we're all kind of going through this collective experience together, and that is very bonding and unifying, and we're all just so happy and grateful to be here. That's one of the things that I think is the most special, and why this game in particular, it was great for me because I found work that I love to be doing as an actor, so it's very fulfilling work-wise, but also the community that I've met and have made they're some of the most generous and giving and welcoming people that I've ever met. And so it's very gratifying to find not only an industry that you want to do the work in, but also the community that you want to be in too. I think that's what's so important and special about it. So I love my RE family. I know that I have friends here for life, and I just am so, so grateful to be a part of it. I love them.
Oh, you know what? That is
and they let me stick fake fingers up their nose, so,
Okay, last question then. Speaking of fingers up the nose, let's see here. So did you eat that fish stick afterwards or whatever it was?
No, it's literally a fake finger. It's a plastic finger.
Oh, okay.
Because Todd Soley, who plays Ethan Winters, he's a very private person, so he was not there. But instead, he sent over a representative, meaning a severed hand. And we had this like fake finger. And so obviously being the inner child that I am, I had to stick it up someone's nose, apparently.
So he's a private person, so he didn't want to be there. Is there a particular reason why he's so private and he couldn't do this?
No, I think everyone has their own levels of comfort, and I totally respect that. I mean, it is a lot to be thrust into the spotlight, and if that's not something that you're interested in cultivating, then absolutely you shouldn't be expected to do that. I think he's well within his right to draw that boundary for himself. So yeah.
Not that I was insinuating that he was too good for you guys or anything. No.
Oh, I know.
Well, you know what? This has been a lot of fun. Thank you. You're such a joy to talk to. Oh
my gosh. Well, thank you. You're a joy to talk to. You're letting me have fun and goof off and brought many embarrassing clips.
Oh, yeah. But I warned you ahead of time. Look into my eye. Something crazy about to happen. And people, we have been talking to Maggie Robertson. You guys know her. If nothing else, you know her by her voice. You've heard her. You've seen her character here, Lady D. Please say the name for us, because I'm not going to mangle that again.
Lady Dimitrescu.
Oh, my God. And I was going to ask you to do the voice, but I'm so happy that you did. I am honored.
For you, crazy eyes.
Okay, since we're doing this, one last request. In the voice of Lady D, can you do the most profound thing that you've said today? In that voice, that accent, can you say,
oh my gosh, you are testing me. Okay. Lady Dimitrescu says,
and you still made it very sexy. That's awesome. She would be so proud. That's her after a few glasses of wine. So, well,
I've peaked in my career. That's it. I'm not going to get any better than that.
It doesn't get any better than that, people. No, I'm sure it does. I'm sure you have so many great projects on the horizon coming up. Are you pursuing more voice work right now?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You should. You're awesome at it, but you're awesome everywhere. I couldn't even show everything. I found clips of you being so funny. I saw the things of you being dramatic. You are very talented, and it has been an honor to be able to speak to you today. People, Maggie Robertson, actress extraordinaire, and of course the voice of Lady D over here. Thank you so much, and I look forward to what you're doing next.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast. It was a blast talking to you. So I hope you guys and your audience enjoys, and
Oh, they will.
I'm sure we'll see each other around.
I hope so on the next one. You know, maybe they'll bring the character back
There you
or whatever
go.
big project you have. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh. Do you want me to hang up? I can reach across the room and hang up if you like. I can do that.
Okay. I will hang up. I'm hanging up now.
Yeah, get out of
You
here.
can't stop me. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I was very honored to be able to speak to her because I am a huge fan of the game. If you haven't played the game and you are a gamer, I don't know if you like horror games, but she does excellent voice work in there, but it is an excellent game. It's a lot of fun, so play it. I'm doing my second playthrough right now, and it's one of the best games of the year so far. I am Corey Coleman, your best host of the year, best interviewer of the year, and I'm with the cutest dog of the year. And this is the show of the year, or the channel of the year at least, Double Toasted. I want to thank everybody for being here. Let me pull up my bumper because I'm about to say goodbye to all of you. So until the next show, until the next great talent that we talk to, we'll see you. Oh, let me cut this down a little bit so it's not too loud for you. And just because we're not streaming or we're not recording or we're not posting something, it doesn't mean that we don't want to talk to you. So do not ever hesitate to pop open that keyboard and type in for me, kcoolman, or kcoolmans at gmail.com. That's KCOOLMANZ at gmail.com. Email us with any kind of questions, comments, compliments, insults, input, and our advice. Hit us up on our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just copy all that information down right there, memorize it, love it, and use it. It's nothing if you don't use it. And if you find yourself with an itch to come to Austin, Texas, well, I guess it's safe now. Everybody's vaccinated. Everybody's good. So come on over. Whether you're moving here or just passing through, we once again want to hang out with you. All right, everybody, that is it. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are listening to or watching this, goodbye and stay thirsty.